Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Spartan Life Radio. I'm your host, Cheryl Wilkerson. So glad that you are spending your Sunday afternoon with me. And let me tell you something. I have, today, the people I have joining us, I would call both of them boss. They are boss people in their respective fields. They're out here getting things done. And I absolutely love that, because I think that when we hear about people like my guest today, that gives us energy, that gives us strength, that gives us the drive, that gives us the inspiration. So without further ado, I welcome to the show for the very first time, but I don't think it'll be the last time, Kyna Clemens. Hello and welcome to Spartan Life Radio. How are you?
I am great. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. I'm doing absolutely phenomenal.
Well, I am glad that you're here. You are the creator of Children of the Sun Classical African-Centered Curriculum. Now, that title threw me for a loop. So can you explain to me, okay, I get that it's African-Centered Curriculum, but can you go through why you chose that exact title?
Yes. Why I chose the title, that is a very good question. It has a lot to do with the pedagogy of the curriculum. Mm-hmm. The curriculum meaning that it is rooted and grounded in an African educational pedagogy, which we have found as classical educators increases Black student achievement. And so I want to thank you for inviting me to share about it, because we produced it for African and African-American children across the African diaspora. And my husband and I have home educated our 7 children in the Washington, D.M.V. area for over 25 years with strong support from people and friends in the homeschool community. So, yeah, it's an amazing resource.
It is an amazing resource, and I can say that with authority because a friend of mine and a cousin of yours, Lamont, actually put it in my hands, the kit in my hands, and I sat there like a little kid. I was like, oh, I like that. Oh, I want these flashcards. I just thought pretty. It was dynamite, and I think that you have done a good job with this. So let's go back to the beginning.
You.
Let's go back to the birth. How did it all start?
Oh, gosh. Well, so we actually created, as you mentioned, I'm the creator of the Children of the Sun Classical African Center Homeschool Curriculum. And also I'm a co-founder of the Children of the Sun Classical Homeschool Impotom, which is an intentional community. And I have to tie in because it's all relative to your question. I'm also the owner and lead textile quilt artist at Giame Quilt Studio, where I teach the art of quilting and the rich history of African and African-American patchwork quilting traditions. So it came out of the need for us to educate, our own children, because my husband and I, Baba G, have 7 children. And we were homeschooling them, and we just felt that, the existing resources weren't really meeting our needs and what we were looking for in an educational pedagogy for our children.
So wait a minute, let me interrupt you. So you were homeschooling, so you never sent any of the 7 children to public or private schools or charter schools or anything like that?
Well, we started off in a Christian private school when we had just 3 children. And my oldest daughter was educated up to 2nd grade from the Hart Christian School. And she was the only one. And after our family grew and we began to have more children, it wasn't cost-effective for us to continue to homeschool.
Okay.
So, so we made a decision to pull the kids out, and I left my good government job because I was an international relations specialist for the government. And God put it in our heart to do it. And at that time, we only had 3. But as the family grew, as we have 7 who we've homeschooled. As they grew, we homeschooled. It became more of a way of life, and all of the children were homeschooled up all the way through college. Now, there was a brief period when we had to put the younger ones in school for 2 years because I had some medical issues, but God was able to allow us to bring them back home. And they all graduated from our homeschooling community. And my son, who is, I'm so proud, a software engineer for Capital One, he only went to school for 1 year, and that was sixth grade.
Oh, wow. I think you have said some things that are very, very important in those few short sentences. First of all, most of us say, okay, we can't stay at home because we have to go to this job because the job is going to take care of the family. But there are so many people and so many examples of families that have made the decision that, no, our family is the most important. And so we'll cut off the cable. We'll drive around in secondhand cars. We'll repurpose the clothes from one child to the next. And we're going to have a happy family, and they're going to be taught at home, and the mom is going to be there with them, or the dad. It doesn't matter, mom or dad, but the families are making the sacrifice to do that. And I just think that the Western way of looking at it, that, you know what, if I had a baby now, and the thought of me putting that child in somebody else's arms when they're 6 weeks old or whatever, I would lose my mind. So I think that's very important, what you said about making that decision and leaving that good government job.
Absolutely. And it's a major sacrifice. But with the sacrifice comes the benefits. And when you see the fruits in the children and you see what the Divine Spirit has done and to give them the leadership skills that they need to change the paradigm for not only our people, but for the entire world, then it makes the sacrifice all worth it.
It really does. And so being co-founder of the Children of the Sun Homeschool and Intentional Community, what does that mean? Explain that to me.
Well, an intentional community is one where children of color are able to see themselves in the curriculum, where they are the center of the learning paradigm. Dr. Malefi Asante, who is the father of the Afrocentric theory, teaches us that when children of color are the center of the educational learning experience, that it increases their self-esteem and their self-awareness. And for so long, African children have been unable to see themselves in the traditional American curriculum. And that, fortunately, is the subject of a hot debate. And we see that the paradigm is changing for our children. And unfortunately, it took a national pandemic like the COVID-19 to bring awareness, as well as the racial inequalities in the American public school system, for people to begin to see this.
Yeah, you're right. I think a lot of eyes were opened. And then how have you married all of that with being the owner of a textile quilt? What's the word I want to use? How's that all come together?
Well, believe it or not, it's a strange paradigm or relationship, interconnectivity, because, well, let me just say, the inspiration for the creation of the Children of the Sun curriculum was spirit birth. So my husband, Babaji, and I sought to create a holistic educational paradigm where our children would know who they were, created in the likeness of great and omnipotent God, and in the likeness of the great people from whom we are all descended. People of color who were great builders of world civilizations, like Queen Hatshepsut from ancient Egypt, that we call Kemet, or even the brilliant scientist and botanist George Washington Carver from the 19th century. So homeschooling offered us freedom, what we call freedom in real education. And on snowy winter days, we studied science outdoors. We read about Matthew Henson, but we also learned about him in a fun and dramatic manner, you know, as we pretended to be him outdoors in the winter, right in our own backyard on school day. Okay. So the backyard became what renowned educator Dr. Chika Okua calls the class womb, as he frames it. In other words, it becomes an incubator for fresh, new learning ideas and practices. And so I don't know if I answered your question, but forgive me. But you know there was just so many factors that inspired us to create the curriculum. And
then you put the quilt studio in there. You mixed that in.
Yes. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. And then so the interconnectivity is with the quilts is that we use the quilt to teach the children the secrets of their African ancestral heritage, and in a Sankofa process, which is going back to get that knowledge from the ancestors and bring it forward to apply and solve modern-day problems. So we're able to do that approach in the Scraps of Africa brand using quilts, fiber art, African textiles creatively to teach the children how to trace their family genealogy and reconnect them with the truth, beauty, and grace of their African history, heritage, and culture, which was previously unknown or lost as a result of the horrific transatlantic slave trade.
You are probably listening to the radio right now, and you have stopped what you are doing, and you're like, who is that I'm listening to? That is Kyna Clemens. She is the creator of the Children of the Sun Classical African-Centered Curriculum and co-founder of the Children of the Sun Homeschool Intentional Community. And what does it take to become a lead textile quilt artist? How did you learn that?
Oh, my goodness. Again, that was spirit birthed. It was just put in my spirit because I never really considered myself an artist. I'm a writer.
What?
I love to write, and I never did, but I think it was my love for history, and I think it was really the gifts and talents that the Divine Spirit intended to birth in me for the next generation. And so she put the desire in my heart, and I just began researching, and then once I got involved and I started touching and feeling the fabric and learning about the African origins of the fabric and how the fabrics in America during the enslavement period of our people were related to the fabrics of the people in our ancestors in ancient Africa, I just couldn't get enough, and the spirits of the cloth just got a hold of me, and it's all history now.
It is all history. Let's go to the curriculum. So you have set this up in different phases so that people that might want to be involved, they have choices, they have options. People that want to homeschool their children or use your curriculum to teach their children, you've set up different options for them, correct?
Yes, we sure did, yes.
And why did you feel the need to do that?
Well, because education is not a cookie-cutter approach for everyone. Okay. And that's the beautiful thing about homeschooling. It allows us to cater and minister to the needs of our children as uniquely as God has created them to be. And so the Children of the Sun curriculum, it illuminates that as well. It's 4 tiers, and there are 4 basic components to the COS curriculum. And it is amazing, I have to admit, because it the way Spirit gave it to me was for such a time as now. And it actually was given to me 7 years ago. And so in all things divine order, because now it's the perfect time because we really, really need it with what's going on with the educational system. So it's a 4-tiered system, which includes a parent manual, the student manual, the Culture Keepers Consciousness Work digital album, and the graphically designed Culture Keepers Consciousness Work flashcards. And I'm so proud because it was a community endeavor, and we had amazing graphic artists, advisors, families, parents, musicians who contributed and created this, helped us to bring about this curriculum, which is changing the paradigm for African and African-American children all across the African diaspora.
I sat on the floor, and I don't know how long I sat on the floor, but I remember going through those flashcards, and I was like, how can I sneak these away from Lamont and keep them for myself? They are absolutely mind-boggling. And
thank you.
You said, you had help putting all of this together. I can tell you right now, from what I saw, you get the grade A. Tell me about what comments you get from people that have used your curriculum. What do they say to you?
Oh, my goodness. Everybody loves the curriculum. I'll just read, if I may, some of the endorsements that we have. Dr. Wade Nobles, who is the co-founder of the Association for Black Psychologists and Professor Emeritus from San Francisco State University, says that Kyna Clemens' Children of the Sun classical African-centered curriculum should be used throughout the global African world. It is not only concise, coherent, and comprehensive, it is medicine that is needed to prevent the ongoing psychic damage suffered by African peoples throughout the world. Every African home should have this curriculum if we are serious about the restoration of wellness for our children and ourselves.
That pretty much says it all. And so your curriculum, I'm thinking, has probably gone all over the world. You have people from all over the world that have used it?
Yes, we just rolled the curriculum out, believe it or not, last month. And the curriculum is already being used in Ghana, in Brazil. It's being used in Cuba.
Kyna, that is awesome.
We are really proud of the widespread international distribution that our curriculum is getting, because our African brothers and sisters have been miseducated too. Mm-hmm. And the miseducation of the Negro that was written by Carter G. Woodson over 75 years ago, unfortunately, is still very relevant today.
Correct.
And it's sad that's a reality, because you would think that we would have made more progress after 75 years. But not just in America, but also on the African continent and all throughout the African diaspora, because our African brothers and sisters are also just waking up from a European colonial-based educational system that, basically kept them in cultural indoctrination.
That's the word, indoctrination. You're exactly right. And so what part of this curriculum makes it classical?
That's a very good question. Very good question. There's a difference between classical African-centered education and African-centered education. Classical African-centered education draws its source from the Nile River Valley teaching paradigm, the Seba method, going back 4,000 years to ancient Egypt, which we call Kemet. Mm-hmm. And in that educational paradigm, which was a scribal education, you had a system where, based on the Dogon theory of learning, where children begin at a certain level, and as they chronologically age, they progress through different levels of understanding and deepening of knowledge. So it's based on that paradigm, and that's what makes it classical. And the deep well of wisdom, knowledge, and empirical data that was gifted to the world by many esteemed classical black scholars was our inspiration. Kwame Agye-Akoto, John Henry Clark, Dr. Jacob Carruthers, Sheikh Anta Diop, Asa Hilliard. I could go on and on, Patricia Newton. There are many others who profoundly impacted our lives, our research, and our commitment to classical African-centered education.
Okay. I'm just so proud of you. I just need you to give everybody right now your website so they can go to it while we're still talking, and they can see how outstanding this really is.
Oh, that would be great. I would love for the audience to check out our website. We have two, www.childrenofthesun.education. That's www.childrenofthesun.education. And for the Giame Quilt Studio brand, you can see us at www.giamequilts.com. And if you take a peek at our Giame Quilt website, you'll see our celebrated Black Panther Liberation Quilt, which we use to teach Black self-esteem, cultural awareness, pride to African and African-American children all across the African diaspora.
Now, earlier you told us, and I don't know why these 30 minutes has to go so fast, but earlier you told us that you have 7 children, 6 girls and 1 boy, correct?
Correct.
How does your son do it? No, let me stop. Tell me, give me a rundown of what they are doing now in life after being inspired by this curriculum that you have put forth.
Okay, well, my daughter, the oldest, Kalila Faith Clemens, is a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. My son, they're all over the country. She's based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. My son, Jossie Clemens, the only boy, poor soul, he and his dad, they're so close.
They hang tough, huh?
But he's not a mama's boy, not at all.
Okay, good.
But I'm so proud. He, as I mentioned earlier, is a software engineer for Capital One. He's based out of Richmond. And then the next one, Kamaria Hope Clemens, is a healer on the Eastern Shore. She's a social worker with her master's degree, and she's healing the descendants of Harriet Tubman on the Eastern Shore. And ministering to their spiritual and cultural needs. And then quickly, because I know we're running out of time, and then it just went downhill from there because they're 21, 20, and 19. I call those my twins, triplets.
Right.
My triplets. Kai Charity Clemens is working on her master's. She's a McNair Scholar in the University of Baltimore, having graduated from Kent State University as a Pan-African scholar. Okay. She's already a published researcher. And, oh, goodness, the one under her, Quayera, I call her Queen Hatshepsut. She's on the West Coast in California. That's my Valley girl doing her thing. Mm-hmm. And then Candia, she's pursuing a modeling and career, and she is also finished school in 3 years, her college degree. She didn't graduate yet, but she finished school, and she's taken a little gap year to pursue a modeling career. And then the last one is the baby, who is the sum composite of them all, and that's Kiari Joy. And she finished, like her siblings before her, she finished high school in 2 years, and she's about to start college at the community college at 16.
How wonderful is all of that? Kyna Clemens, you are my hero. I want you to stay strong. I want your family to stay strong. I want you to give out that information once more, because I know everybody is going to run to your website, give out whatever social media you want to give out, because you are doing big things.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I want to thank my cousin, as you mentioned, Lamont. He's a scholar. I just want to thank him for supporting us. And those websites, again, are www.childrenofthesun.education and www.giamequilts.com. You can check us out on Facebook, Ujima, Children of the Sun on Facebook, also Giame Quilts on Facebook. And we also have a very informative Facebook educational page called Black Literary Awareness for Cultural Knowledge. Again, you want to check that out. It is an amazing repository of information, all things African-centered. It's called Black Literary Awareness for Cultural Knowledge on Facebook. Thank you, Cheryl, so much.
Not a problem. Thank you so very much. I'm sure, like I said earlier, we will be talking again, okay?
Oh, I'd love for you to invite me back.
Yes, we will do that. We will make a date. Again, Kyna Clemens, she has come forth today, and please check out all of the good information that she left you with. If you have a child and, they seem to be like lagging behind in school, they don't have the zip, the zing, or whatever, this curriculum might bring out their joy. You never know. It might inspire them. So please take a look at it. Coming up, my next guest, oh my goodness. How many people can say that they are a filmmaker, but how about they're an award-winning filmmaker? Oh, my goodness. He's coming up in just a bit. I'm Cheryl Wilkerson. This is Spartan Life Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Spartan Life Radio. I'm your host, Cheryl Wilkerson. I told you I had some boss people on the show today. I did not exaggerate. I have Ty Cooper. He is an award-winning filmmaker, director, went to Norfolk State University, Behold the Green and Gold, and
Absolutely.
has an exciting new film out. Welcome to Spartan Life Radio. How are you?
Thank you. I'm extremely honored, Cheryl, to be here, to be on your show. I mean, you know, I've admired you for decades. I'm not gonna tell anyone our age, our respective ages, but it's really literally been decades. And so thank you so much.
Not a problem. Thank you for being a vital part of the community. So take me back to Norfolk State. First and foremost, why did you decide to go to Norfolk State?
Really kind of, I would say kind of the traditional reason to go to an HBCU. You know, I am a product, I would say, of school days, you know, spiky school days.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got accepted to pretty much most of the schools I applied to, but I really wanted to kind of have a different experience. I'm from New York. I'm from Harlem. And so...
we hear that accent.
So, I'm from Harlem, the best place on earth other than Norfolk. And so I just wanted to kind of have a different experience, and I really wanted to kind of be within my own. To some regard. I mean, coming from Harlem, yes, I grew up within our own. But I also went to high school downtown on 33rd and Park Avenue, and I had many different experiences than many of my friends had in the community. And so I just kind of wanted to go to Norfolk State to kind of really truly get that support. And it paid off.
It paid off big time. As I said, you're award-winning. And so give us the Cliff Notes version of what has happened from the time you left Norfolk State till now.
Oh, my God.
Give us the highlights.
My Cliff Notes would be a novel.
Oh, my gosh.
But what I would say is this. I started my business when I was an undergrad. So I started my business as a promoter in my third year of school. I promoted many concerts, and I was a major promoter in the area for many, many years. I started my company in 1993. And since leaving, I graduated in 95. But since leaving Norfolk, the area particularly as far as dwelling, I opened up a dry cleaners, continued to promote. I sat on many boards in Charlottesville, Virginia, many nonprofit boards, and just really giving back to my respective communities. I started a scholarship fund in my family's name in Harlem.
Wonderful.
To provide a $1,000 per person scholarship to students who's coming from my housing projects where I was, pretty much raised. And, have a granddaughter right now. Sent my daughter off to Virginia Tech years ago. She graduated as a chemistry major. And, just living life, traveling the world.
Okay. So you have come up with this film, your latest film. How many films do you have altogether?
I have 4. I have 2 documentaries, 2 narrative films, and I'm working on 2 more films right now. But in the can, that's already done, been seen, and stuff like that. 4 total.
Okay,
but
4.
I've written various stage plays before I became a filmmaker.
Okay, all right. You did the stage plays as well. Okay, so that's a whole lot of writing. This latest film, it's entitled Amanda. Yeah. What do you want to tell us about it? What do you want to give the audience? What nuggets do you want to give the audience? Because they're going to have an opportunity to see it. So what are you going to say to them to get their curiosity up for them to come out and see this movie?
One thing I can say about Amanda is that it's a story that's extremely relatable. It addresses cancer, trauma, community, relationships, love, and art. And a lot of it is a reflection of things that happened in my life. I recently, within the past year and a half, actually, I've lost 3 family members to cancer. My mother beat breast cancer a few years ago. My father currently is dealing with prostate cancer, but he caught it very early, so he's doing really well with it. And so these things that I deal with in my life, others have dealt with it. But the thing about it, Amanda has it has some major twists and turns that's very controversial. And it's things that we deal with as a society, and I just want people to see it so that they can know that there's always we always have options, and we always have love around us as well. We just have to tap into that love and support, and which we get from our community. But many times when people going through trauma that haven't been dealt with, we have a tendency to think we're all alone, and the reality is that we aren't. And the lead character make a decision that could be controversial to people. So, I'm trying to tell a story that's relatable, where people for which people can connect to.
And as I was speaking to my previous guest today, the title of her curriculum intrigued me. The title of your movie intrigues me. Amanda.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Tell me why.
It's Amanda is, Amanda is just like the title is just a basic name. And it's pretty much this girl next door type of story. It's a love story in a sense. And I really wanted to name this particular story after the lead character. And I have 3 other film screenplays that I'm working on that's also titled the person's name, because all these individuals have a relationship that starts in this coffee shop. And so I was initially writing a feature film, but then I wanted to, I put it down for years, and I said, you know what? I picked it back up, and I said, you know what? Instead of me writing the feature film called The Coffee House, let me extract the stories of the individuals that's in the Coffee House screenplay, and let me write a screenplay about each one of those characters, opposed to the whole entire Coffee House. So the Coffee House is a character in itself, but I decided to tell Amanda's story because I developed her so well that I know Amanda's favorite food. I know Amanda's favorite color.
Wow.
These are things that's not in the movie. These are things that I know about the character who I created. So Amanda was really fitting for this story.
All right. So you just said something else that my non-creative brain finds intriguing. Okay. Now, how do you have all these different stories in your head at one time and keep them straight? All of you great filmmakers do this, and I can't keep one story straight. I read a book and then I have to turn around and reread it. How do you keep all of these stories straight in your head? Like, do you have a slot in your head, and this slot is the Amanda slot, and this slot is the so-and-so slot, and this slot? I mean, how does this work?
Cheryl, as a creative, as a filmmaker particularly, we typically it's funny. I'm a marketer. I was a marketing and finance major at Norfolk State. I started a marketing company. I still own a marketing company. And one thing about creatives is that we see things in a visual way. We see a picture. And so with my films and my screenplays and the 2 that I'm working on, then the other 2 that I'm going to be, chopping out hopefully in 2023, we see these pictures and these images, these moving images in our minds. And so when I look at Amanda, before I created it, I saw the coffee shop, and I saw all these individuals in the coffee shop, just like you and I are doing right now. If you go into a tea shop or a coffee shop, you see these people, but what happens is that you tend to walk past them and not really think about them because you're more focused on getting your coffee or your tea.
Okay.
When I walk in a place, I'm not really thinking about the coffee or the tea. I'm thinking about the environment, and I see that. So when I see that, and I have to write about it, I kind of compartmentalize these things, these actors, these players in my story, and then I just kind of know their backstory, and I create it, and I guess that's why I keep it together. I guess, but even when I read a book, I read it over, so you're not alone in that. It's just, but my approach in filmmaking is that I do have to, if I'm going to tell a story, I need to be able to tell a story, and the only way to tell a story is to know the characters.
Yeah.
Like the back of your hand.
Okay. Do you have other creators in your family that have written books or plays or movies or documentaries, or are you the first in the family?
Actually, I'm the first in the family. It's kind of odd because I don't know exactly where it came from, but I just know. But one thing I can say is that my mother I'm from Harlem, so my mother always took me to see Broadway plays when I was a kid.
Did she really?
Yeah, definitely. She kept me into Broadway plays, not with the intention of me becoming a playwright, but I think more with the intention of exposing me to culture. And I think, and that's what I said earlier, that there's a lot of differences between me and some of my friends' experiences. I worked at Goldman Sachs. I worked at Philip Morris. I had an intern at Philip Morris. I'm seeing these Broadway plays, these all-Broadway plays, and then I come back to the hood and hang out with my friends. But my friends may have been in the hood all day long, but when my mother take me to see a matinee off-Broadway or on Broadway, when I come back, I've had an enriched experience. And then I come home to have the same experience that my other friends had. And
right.
So I do think that was one of the things that really kind of separated me from a lot. And it kept my hands busy and not idle, and I think I really owe my mother that, to be honest with you.
And side note to what you were saying about Broadway, I received a text from my nephew Adam Ryan Richardson. He's out of Smithfield, and Adam went to Carnegie Mellon and Juilliard, and
nice.
He's my person that I go to. Like if I'm listening to the opera and I don't know what's going on with the opera, I call Adam. What's going on with this opera, right? And he sent me a text the other day, and he was saying, Aunt Cheryl, MJ, Michael Jackson the musical. He's like, It is amazing. You need to come to New York to see that, because that's he and I. We do that. We went to see Tina. The Tina Turner musical the other month. So, but yeah, Adam gives it a thumbs up. So I believe it's pretty good. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, seeing Broadway productions, taking your child to see these type of productions it's so vital if you want your child to be a little bit more cultured. The exposure is all about exposure, and you don't have to go to Broadway because
right.
when I was living in Virginia Beach, right, I took my daughter to the Wells Theater all the time. Like for
right.
years, we were going to that, maybe 4 plays a year, 5 plays a year, whatever production they were having, we would go. And my daughter went to the academy school at Salem for high school, so it was her assignments as well for extra credit. So it's just so enriching to do that. And you never know. Like, I'm a marketing and finance major. I worked at Goldman Sachs and Philip Morris, back in the days. But I'm a filmmaker now as well. And I didn't go to film school. I just
right.
I just picked it up and I learned from others. And Amanda is it's so well shot. Like, I hope you get a chance to see it, Cheryl, because it's definitely a pretty film. It's very pretty. Cinematography and everything is really good. It's just a pretty film, and it's a sweet story.
Let me ask you this. Is it a film that is appropriate for children, since we're talking about that?
Absolutely, for all.
Okay.
There's no cursing in it. There's no sexual, lead-ons or anything like that. It's not blue. But it is a story, and we do have a subject matter in there that, but it's real life, but it's real life. But it's nothing that's you will be covering your child's eyes. I don't care if your
right.
child. My granddaughter saw it twice. Three times.
Okay. Well, if she saw it, our grandchildren can see it as well. I am speaking with Ty Cooper. He went to Norfolk State University. He graduated from Norfolk State University, and he has written this award-winning film. It's entitled Amanda. Now, when can the Norfolk audience check it out?
Oh, yeah, February 6th. That's Sunday, February 6th at 8 p.m. Doors open at 8 p.m., and we're going to turn the screens on at 8:15. And it's at the Narrow Cinema. So that's the Narrow Theater is over there on Carly Avenue in the Gant neighborhood. It's a premier indie film house, and it's been there for for decades, and I love it. I used to live in Gant, and I used to go to that theater. So for me, this is like a homecoming to me, and bringing it to Norfolk is just an amazing experience. So February 6th, and they want to get tickets. You can go to the website AmandaTheFilm.com. That's AmandaTheFilm.com, and you can go to the website and and buy tickets via there.
That is excellent. Again, it's February the 6th. The doors will open at 8 p.m. at the Narrow Cinema in the Ghent neighborhood, right downtown Norfolk. And you know what? I think that you should also, some people might want to catch it in Richmond, so I think you should give that date and time as well.
True. I forgot that you have an international show, so so I need to do that. So so if you go to the website amandathefilm.com, you'll see the listing of the tour dates. But February 5th, that's Saturday evening at 7 p.m. In Richmond, is at Movie Land Cinema. So that's the Bowtie Cinema line. It's Movie Land. It's on Arthur Ashe Boulevard, and that's at 7 p.m. And that's each screening. We have a moderated panel discussion following the screening. So the one in Richmond is moderated by Andy Edmonds, who's the director of the Virginia Film Office. So we got support from the state, from the cities and so forth. And, in Charlottesville, in Richmond, not Richmond, I'm sorry. My mind is all over the place. We had 2 sold-out screenings in Charlottesville to kind of like test the screening.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah, over 300-something people, and they loved it. And so then that's when I was like, well, you know what, let's take this on tour. It's time. We just released it for the public in November in Charlottesville, and I said, well, let's launch the tour in Richmond because I shot it in Richmond. So I said, well, let's launch the tour in Richmond. Oh,
you did? Okay.
Yeah, I shot it in Richmond, and then I said, well, immediately following, I need to go to Norfolk. Like, I would like to debut it in Norfolk, but I thought it was only right since I filmed it in Richmond to launch it from Richmond. But then the next day, we're in Norfolk at the Narrow Cinema. And then that one is also moderated as well. And I'm trying to get Cheryl Wilkerson to moderate it, but we have to, I guess we have to talk.
We got to talk about that. Late nights, early mornings.
Put you on the spot. I got to put you on the spot. But I take care of you. I put you in a hotel, whatever. I take care of you. But let's talk off air, and hopefully we can get something worked out.
We are speaking with Ty Cooper. He is an award-winning director. He has a brand new film out. It's simply entitled Amanda. And he says it's something that the whole family can enjoy, something the whole family can relate to. He says it's beautiful cinematography. It is coming to Norfolk. You can check it out. It's going to be at the Narrow on Colley Avenue. So you can go to the website. Give us the website once again, Ty, please.
Absolutely. It's amandathefilm.com. AMANDA, Amanda, the THE film, FILM.com.
Now, what else are you cooking up? You got this one under your belt. What else do you have going?
Well, I had this one, like you said, I do have it under my belt, but we're touring, and it's going to be a long 2022. Sundance was canceled in person, which was very disappointing because I was screening it, not for Sundance, but I was screening it in Park City, Utah, during Sundance. So,
okay.
Yeah, at my friend's restaurant. And it would have been amazing because I screened another film there during Sundance as well. So, while everyone is there enjoying Sundance, people come into my screening, and I got major promotion. So I really was looking forward to it. But there's other, like I said, we're launching the tour, in Richmond, and then, then Norfolk. And I'm picking up spot dates throughout the country. So it's going to be a long year, going to be a tough one, too, because, I'm still maneuvering during COVID. And, just like when we filmed Amanda, I put everyone in the hotel because I wanted to put everyone in the bubble because I didn't want to be traveling back and forth. So it cost me $4,000 just in hotel fees to keep everyone in the hotel.
That's what I heard that the great filmmakers did during COVID. They took over and they put them in a bubble. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we put them in a bubble. And some independent films don't do that because they don't have the resource, the finances to do it. But I just say, instead of having my people go back and forth, I wanted to invest in their safety. So that's what I did. And I think, you take care of your people, they will always work for you. If they know that you care about them, they will always come to you when you need them. So that's what happened with Amanda. And for the rest of the year, I'm going to be touring. But also, I'm knocking out these 2 films. I'm knocking out Lloyd, who is one of the characters in Amanda, and the people love him as well. So I'm creating his story now. But I'm also writing a story about a police officer who killed an unarmed black person. But the difference between that, because we see that regularly, unfortunately. But the issue with this one is that he's married to a black woman with interracial kids. So it's a little spin to it, and I'm not going I'm not going to say much more than that about it, but I'm writing that, and that one's going to cost, like, Amanda cost me about $30,000 to film, but this one is about $300 something so far from what I'm budgeting. So it's going to be a tough one for me to try to shoot myself because I don't have $300,000 discretionarily just laying around.
Right,
but,
just laying around to do this. Right.
Yeah, but so I think I'm gonna physically shoot Lloyd first, the end of the year, and then as I'm drumming up support for Stain, which is that other film, to shoot in 2023. I think that it makes sense to do that. I could shoot Lloyd for about 30 as well, but then move into Stain as I try to drum up support. So I just want people to see the quality of my work this year, so that if people would want to get behind the bigger film, Stain, which is a feature film, then they'll get behind that with confidence. And so it's important for people to see Amanda so they can see my body of work and the skill.
Now, if they go to Richmond or if they watch it here in Norfolk, the movie theaters, we're following CDC guidelines. Everybody's wearing a mask, or how's that being handled?
Good question. Thank you for asking that, too. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. Yes, masks are mandatory. It's required, and so you have to have a mask. If you stumbled in there without a mask, then we have a mask waiting for you at the check-in table. So it's definitely mask required. And I'm on the fence of even having concessions, because when people have concessions,
right.
They tend to leave their mask off as if they're eating the whole time. So I'm kind of on the fence of that. Now, one thing about Amanda is a 45-minute film, so it's 45 minutes, and it's followed by a 40-minute panel discussion. So you do have a nice chunky event. You have like an hour and a half you're going to be sitting down, like a regular full-length movie. So, I want to keep people safe. So my goal is I'm contemplating on concessions. I'm not, I haven't made a full decision yet, but mask mandatory, regardless. Okay.
Let me ask you this. Sure. As the award-winning filmmaker and director that you are, what did you think when you heard of the loss of Sidney Poitier the other week?
I'm going to tell you something. That one hurt me. There's been a couple that hurt me too, but that one really hurt me because I admire him. He was a barrier breaker. He was like a Jesse Owens and others. So for me, being in this world, just admiring his work, admiring what he had to go through. He was the first black man to smack a white man in the face on film. So he was just a huge loss to the community, and so we had to honor those who paved the way and walked that walk. And so some people didn't like him because they felt as though you know how it go. You have people who who have more appreciation for the grittier, black actor or black whomever. And then you have some people who don't like the clean-cut one, the one who they felt as though got the silver spoon or what have you. But the reality
he said he was not going to take any roles that would be derogatory toward himself or the race, and he didn't. Yes,
you have to honor that. I don't understand how some people don't, but for me, it was a loss to me. I was just sad. I was really sad about it, to be honest with you. I didn't cry, but I was just kind of like in this, you know how you just get into this this space in your head where it's just like it lacks stability. That's where I was at for a little while, but he lived a full life, so I could only dream to live that kind of life. So I had to kind of shake out of it, and just kind of move on from it. But Sidney will always be honored by me.
We are running out of time, but before I get you to give all of your social handles again and all of that, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about all the streaming that's going on today? Is that worked out in the favor of the independent filmmaker?
Okay. How much time do we have?
We have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right. All right. I did an interview, and I answered this question as well one time before. I would say this. On the major services like Netflix and others, it hasn't worked out in our favor necessarily because you have to go to a distributor to get to Netflix. You can't go to Netflix yourself. They will not pick it up. And that's not a good thing because they are the major players. But what is a good thing is that you do have some smaller streaming services, and you have the internet itself, which has provided opportunities for independent filmmakers to get their work out, by which in the past you would not have. So I don't have a real complaint about streaming because it does present opportunities. I do have a problem with places like Netflix and others who you have to go through these distributors because you could have your work already done. Like my work, Amanda's already done, right? It looks good. I could easily have it translated in different languages, so it could be distributed around the world. But no matter what, they don't care if you got it done. They don't care how good it looks. They want you to go to a distributor, which means the distributor, you're giving money to the distributor for stuff you already done.
Yes, I got you. That's a very good answer. Ty Cooper, tell everybody who, what, when, where, and how.
Yep, Sunday, if you're in Norfolk, February 6th at the Narrow Theater, which is located on Carly Avenue. That's in Norfolk, Virginia. My homecoming, 8 p.m., doors open. The movie will start at 8:15. If you're in Richmond, then you go to Movie Land at 7 p.m. on February the 5th, which is that Saturday. So Saturday in Richmond, Sunday evening in Norfolk. You can go to my website, amandathefilm.com, where you can see a trailer, you can see other interviews with me and the cast members and so forth, talking about the making of it, the inspiration behind it, and so forth. And if you're on Instagram, you can always come to. I'm at my handle is at Ty Cooper. No, Ty. Ty Creative Visuals. I'm sorry, I got so many handles. Ty Creative Visuals, and on IG. That's Ty Creative Visuals at IG, and you can always find me on Facebook too, Ty Cooper.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate that. We will be at that show. And Hampton Roads, I want to thank you all for joining me on this Sunday afternoon. I told you I had boss people coming on today. I have to thank Marvin because he always hooks me up as far as production of the show. I don't say thank you enough, but thank you, Marvin. And we will meet you all here next Sunday at 12 noon. Take care. Stay safe. Physical distance and all of that good stuff. I love you. Take care. Bye-bye.